We Are Egg Donors was formed in 2013 from current and former egg donors who had gone through the process and couldn't find other egg donors to share their experiences with. So that was back in 2013. And between then and now, we've grown exponentially in terms of members, but also efforts to get outside resources connected with information we have within inside the group. That includes speaking to media outlets, to creating more information through our public website, connecting with more recipients and donor conceived person groups, new laws, new bills, new efforts to kind of connect the donor community with the donor conceived persons community. A lot of the egg donor resources out there are that which are presented by agencies and clinics. During my egg donor journey, I found that as a good starting point, but what really made the biggest difference for me in learning about the process was being able to have conversations with current and former donors. I definitely think that needs to be expanded upon. And as donors look more into going through this process, those conversations will be incredibly important for them to have, to learn just not about the process itself from the medical standpoint, but also sort of the long-term impacts of choosing to be an egg donor.
I didn't know anyone else who'd ever been an egg donor, and that felt a little bit isolating. I was very happy to find out that there were communities of egg donors. For instance, I joined We Are Egg Donors, which is an online community of prospective donors and former donors where we share information and advice.
Two of the good things that came out of my donations were having great relationships with multiple intended parents, and also the ability to help many women around the world to have what I didn't have when I first started donating through We Are Egg Donors.
It's important for them to know that you're not alone and you have a community that you can talk to.
You don't know what this process is until you do it. And unless you grew up in a donor situation like I did, you don't necessarily understand the ramifications.
Truly think about your decision. It is a lifelong decision. 15 years from now, 20 years from now, you have no idea what the future brings. And that's how you kind of have to think. You have to be a forward thinker.
The positives versus the negatives of having your genetic material being used by other people. Realizing that it is a decision that cannot be turned back once it is made.
Talk to at least an egg donor before you head into the clinic. Ideally talk to a donor conceived person, talk to other recipient parents, really know the choice that you are making so that you can stand behind it.
Just know that you're not alone, that there's communities of women who are in the same position as you, who are navigating the same relationships and the same sorts of feelings.
You always have an option to say no if you don't want to do certain things.
As an egg donor, it's really important that you know that you have choice. You have a choice in the recipients you donate to. You have a choice with the agency to make sure that it's a company that you feel comfortable with. If anything ever feels uncomfortable, listen to your gut. So if it feels like it's not the right match, then break the match. It's important that you do something that you feel comfortable with because it's a lifelong decision.
Ask questions and question everything. Know that you have a say in this entire process.
This industry is going to be, it's wide. It's just going to be open wide. And what is that going to look like for you? How are you going to share that with your children? How are you going to share that with your partner or with your family or whatever? And how are you going to respond when a donor conceived person is sending you an email or knocking on your door? Now we know, and now that we know, we can do better.
Egg donors are one of the most vulnerable populations in the fertility industry from a medical standpoint, because we don't have the research. There's so much that is an unknown, and the only way that we can fix that is by talking about it.